Now we will start revision of chapter 2, lesson 3, Newton's laws of motion. We said that we have 3 laws in this lesson. 3 Newton's laws of motion. In question number 1, label each of the following images descriptions below as being examples of first, second, or third law of motion, then explain your answer. For the first picture here, in front of you there is a cannon which is throwing a ball. As a result of the throwing or pushing forward the ball, the cannon itself has moved backward. Here 2 directions are mentioned, one forward direction and one backward direction. Equal forces with different directions. Which law of this? Yes, this is third law of motion, which states that for every action there is an equal reaction but in opposite direction. What happens is that as the cannon is pushing out the ball, so by the same force the cannon itself will be pushed backward by the same force but in different or in the opposite direction. For the second picture here, there is a weight by a certain mass and a force applied on this weight that causes it to move. Here without thinking, you have seen mass and force and there is acceleration. Which of the Newton's laws of motion describes the relationship between mass, force, and acceleration? Yes, this is the second law, which states that an object's acceleration depends on its mass and on the net force acting on it. And remember that we said that acceleration equals force divided by mass. So acceleration is dependent on the force and on the mass. Third picture here, you can see a person who's pushed forward in a car, right? Yes. When the car stops, your body continues to move forward. This is called inertia. So this is which law? First, law of motion or law of inertia, which says that any object resists the change in motion. Fine. For question number 2, answer the following questions. The equation that's used to solve second law problems is force equals mass multiplied by acceleration, or which said that acceleration equals force divided by mass. A. What does each of the variables mean? F, M, A. F means force, M means mass, and A means acceleration. B. What unit of measurement must be used with each variable, or what is the unit that's used to measure each of these variables? F, force. How do we measure force? By Newton. Mass. How can you find or describe the mass of an object? By kilograms. For acceleration, meter per second square. Number 2, what is inertia? Inertia is the resistance to change in motion. Question number 3, complete the following sentences. The greater the forces applied, the acceleration? Yes, force and acceleration are directly proportional. What the meaning of directly proportional? It means that both of them increase in the same time. If the force is increasing, the acceleration is also increasing. So the greater the force is applied, the greater the acceleration. B. If the same force is applied on an object with a large mass, same force, but the mass is increased, it will have what acceleration? What is the relationship between the mass and acceleration? Yes, they are inversely proportional. So the higher the mass, the smaller the acceleration. C. Newton's first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. Newton's first law says that an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by a non-zero net force. An object moving at a constant velocity will continue moving at a constant velocity unless acted upon by a non-zero net force. E. The smaller the mass of an object, the what? Its inertia. We said that inertia is dependent on the mass, and they are directly proportional. The smaller the mass, the less the inertia. And also, the higher the mass, the higher its inertia.